Our relation, Indian, Tibetan, not just economy reason, political reason, it's a spiritual, very, very deep relations. Since, I think since 7th century. Inspired Tibetan emperor, you see, through marriage, very, very close with Chinese emperor. So I think first, Buddha Dharma come from China, 7th century. The Buddha statue in Lhasa. And that statue brought by Chinese princess who marry with Tibetan emperor, Tibetan king, 7th century. So it seems now he enjoy with Chinese beauty. But you see, during his time, 7th century, you see Tibetan writing, you see Tibetan language either develop or improve. There are two different sort of views, versions. In any way, he copied from Indian Devanagari letter, script, and alphabet, kakakanga, chachachanya, tatatana, from Indian. So Tibetan script completely different than Chinese script. So 7th century, I think the Tibetan emperor Songtsen Gampo, he married with Chinese, very, very close link, but as far as culture and these sort of field, you see, he looked towards India. Then 8th century. See, the emperor, Chisung Tse, he invited one top, also the Buddhist master. At that time, in Nalanda, I think almost picked were highly developed. So he noticed, or he, I think, inquired. He wanted to invite one top scholar from Nalanda. So then he decided Shandar Rakshita. At that time, almost, I think, the top scholar of Nalanda. And monk, great logician, great philosopher. So he invited. So Tibetan letter script copy from Indian Kasoda letter and grammar like that. And then Buddha Dharma, he invited that top scholar. He introduced Buddha Dharma according to Nalanda tradition. So since he himself, great logician, his own writing, Buddhist logic, oh, wonderful. In the meantime, rather difficult. And then commentary wrote by his disciple, I think best disciple, Kamalashila. He also invited to Tibet in order to debate with Chinese meditationer, then defeat the Chinese meditationer, meditator. So we often, you see, have this sort of view. 8th century or late 8th century and I think 9th century, some Chinese meditator. Since Shantarakshita there, already there, because very close connection with Tibetan emperor. But then, gradually, some Chinese meditator, you see, they have the view, the proper way to Buddha, because of the enlightenment, just meditation, not also the investigation. We call vipassana, only meditation. So even now, these days, some occasion in Japan, some Japanese Buddhists ask me, in order to become Buddha, or in order to reach Buddhahood, meditation alone sufficient? Not, is it necessary? Study. Even now today, some Japanese meditator, they believe just meditation, not study, vipassana. So at that time, you see some meditator of Chinese becoming more extreme way. So then Kamalashila invited by Tibetan emperor, and then because of the debate took place between Kamalashila and his follower, Tibetan, and then some Chinese meditator. Then eventually, they meditate because of the not general meditator, the meditation deed pamarta.
Those who said that meditation alone is enough to reach Buddha, they were defeated in debate.
So then, since the Kamalashila and his teacher Shantarakshita, great logician, so therefore, naturally, such a teacher is to want his student be like him. So, with Tibetan Buddhist, since 8th century, we very much emphasis study about logic. Now in Chinese tradition, Buddhism before reached Tibet already reached in China, but not much translation about Buddhist logic, like Dignax Kasadi, Parmanda Murtika Karika, not Ka. Oh, some Namdinjalo.
So, Master Dignagas, Brahmana Samuchaya, and other logical texts, as well as the Harakirti's 7 treatises on logic.
So both in Chinese language, no translation. So therefore, in Chinese Buddhist tradition, meditation more important, and chanting not use logical approach. So we Tibetan, this is very much sort of what today, follow, or very much emphasis analytical meditation, study, logic. So now today, the whole Buddhist world, I think Tibetan is only the student of because of ancient Indian guru. We kept all this knowledge like that. So all our knowledge come from India. So now this ancient Indian knowledge, of course, so we Buddhists, judging those whose text wrote by great Buddhist master, a great logician like Kasa Shantarakshita himself. There are, many sort of non-Buddhist traditions scholar. They mentioned such scholar, mentioned like that, and raise some argument, debate. So that shows And similarly, Aryan Deva writing. It clearly shows at that time, not only Buddhists, but non-Buddhist school of thought, also top scholars there. Great thing. So, not only the knowledge come from Buddhist text, and not only that part, sort of, also the Kasoda, Nyamba, got declined, but also non-Buddhist traditions, these knowledge also, declined. So a few years ago in Delhi, one international Hindu conference, they invited me, and I told them, the ancient, these knowledge, not Buddhism, but you see logic and philosophy, you see these things should sort of say the Indian sort of the sadhus and Kasota, yogis should pay more attention about these ancient Indian knowledge. I mentioned that. Because nowadays, you see, these sort of great yogis or sadhus, the particular sort of the yogi, for example, the physical exercise, wonderful, but these complicated philosophical view, I think, much neglect. Just some cases, just puja and chanting, not pay much attention. The philosophy, logic, these things. So these philosophy, logic, I consider academic subject, not religious subject. Religion, Buddhist religion for Buddhist, non-Buddhist religion, Hindu religion to Hindus, Jain religion, Jains, like that. But these philosophy, logic is something common. So now this ancient Indian knowledge is not only ancient one, but also I feel, I convince fully, now very, very relevant to today's world. Now today's world, I think each day when we open television or news, a lot of problems, a lot of killing. Now some scientists say basic human nature is more compassionate. And our individual experience, you see, anger, when anger comes, much disturbed our mind. Even good food, no longer much taste, isn't it? Your close friend come, face appears, you feel uncomfortable. Because your own mental state too much disturbed by anger. So usually these days I describing hygiene of physical we usually study, part of our education. Now hygiene of emotion is very relevant to today's world. Not talking about next life, not talking about moksha or nirvana, just day-to-day life. Peace of mind, very important. Basic human nature is more compassionate. Therefore, you see, through also the reasoning, anger is very bad for our health. See, the counterforce of anger is love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, these things. So these are your knowledge. Now ancient Indian knowledge, I think really need, whole world need this knowledge as a, also the kasa, or subject of hygiene of emotion. like that. Of course, if I say so with respect, I think American president also need some knowledge how to tackle emotion. Isn't it? Like that. So therefore, irrespective whether believer or non-believer, whether Buddhist, non-Buddhist, I think as a human being, particularly now, 21st century's human being, faith, just a faith, now, in a way, old-fashioned. Now, reasoning, that is now 21st century's period. You see, people, better education, and including scientific knowledge. So, such period, I think ancient Indian knowledge, through investigation, transform our emotion. That's, I think, very relevant to today's world. So as a student or chela of ancient Indian master, I fully convinced that. So I really want you, now younger generation of this country, and the Indian generation of 21st century should pay more attention about these ancient your knowledge. The original Sanskrit text, some still available. So these are important. I want to share with you. Now I want to some questions, and I always prefer interaction. No formality. We should consider we are same human being. I consider you as a human brothers, sisters, no differences. Okay, and particularly Indian, emotionally very close, like that. Yeah.
Sometimes what I read that there is a difference between Dhamma and Dharma.
Dharma and?
Dhamma, Buddhist conception Dhamma, and Sanskrit concept of Dharma.
Karsa.
And do you see that is there any difference?
I don't know. What?
Do you see that there is any difference between Dhamma and Dharma?
I don't know. I don't know. You should research. Okay. But Buddhist tradition, Pali tradition, mainly, you see, based on Buddha's first Dharma wheel. That took place at Sarnath. The Four Noble Truths he taught. Mainly Four Noble Truths. And in Chajuru.
The 16 characteristics of the Four Noble Truths.
So the first noble truth is the noble truth of suffering, and the four characteristics of the noble truth of suffering are impermanence, suffering, emptiness, and selflessness.
So here, concept roughly speaking, roughly mentioned anatma theory. Then
and then the second noble truth, which is the origin of suffering, has four characteristics, which are called the cause, and then the origin or the source of all, and then intense cause, and then thereof the condition.
The third noble truth, now that is very important, nirodha, cessation. The very causes of suffering completely eliminated. That state of mind is nirodha. So now big question is it possible? And that's a big question. So he mentioned Gokwa Shiva Dhanong Ngenjung.
And so accordingly the Buddha mentioned the four characteristics of the true cessation, which are called the cessation, the peaceful, and then the excellent one, and then also the fourth one is called that of definite emergence.
then the wisdom, fourth lamde, mark to achieve nirodha. That now, kasa lam ripo tubanginji.
Yes. And then the four characteristics of the true path are that it's a path, and then that it's appropriateness path, and then that of the practice or accomplishment, and then the fourth one is called the means to reach definite goodness.
So Pali tradition, very much based on that first Dhamma wheel. There also historically recorded. Now second Dharma wheel, that took place at Rajagiri, mainly the Sanskrit language. So some scholar, Buddhist scholar, they say Buddha does not know Sanskrit. So teaching in Sanskrit is impossible. So the text in Sanskrit is not Buddhist teaching. In ancient time, that kind of view also you see developed. So in journals or also the history book, you see not mentioned the second Dharma wheel, only first one. Now second Dharma wheel, Sanskrit, and much sort of explanation, deeper way about the nirodha and mark through reasoning. Now here, one of my experience, one occasion, few years ago, in Delhi, some scholar from Bangkok Buddhist University scholar, some monk, some scholar, lay people, scholar. So we discuss the Four Noble Truths and 16 these things. This we are common. So everybody knows that. Then I asked them, when you explain Four Noble Truths, mainly on quotation of Buddha's word or through reasoning, then they say quotation. Then immediately I reflect, like Dharmakirti's writing. When he explained about Four Noble Truths, reasoning, each point through reasoning. So Sanskrit tradition is a combination with logic. Pali, not much use, logic. But the Sanskrit tradition. So therefore, like Nagarjuna and some of his sort of follower, they rejected some of the Buddha's own teaching. We cannot accept that teaching, because if you accept that teaching, it goes against reason. So we have the liberty to reject Buddha's own word. That's, I feel, something quite unique. No other religious tradition. You see, so that kind of sort of tradition, like that. That also is Buddha himself, you see, mentioned, "Oh, my follower, bhikshus or scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." Then third Dharma wheel, that also in Sanskrit. In Pali tradition, not available. Only Sanskrit tradition, like that. And then, next question. So the very word Dharma and the Dhamma, I don't know.
His Holiness, I wanted to ask, what is your perception about life?
Life is there. Sometimes you see, the ancient philosophers, you see, something common table is here. And food is mainly, you see, I think important is food, some drink there. You see, just to enjoy food, a drink. Not much use what was the detail, the material of the food. And the further goes the particles of the food, and whether there's a beginning or not. Then, you see, too much complicated. Better without, you see, investigate these things, just enjoy. So life there. I think there are now some differences. I think according English word, I don't know the exact meaning, I don't know. But life, flower, life, tree, life, or rocks also life, but no consciousness. So trees and flowers, since no consciousness, so no feeling of pains and pleasure. One occasion, I think you may have, you may heard, you see, their story. One Russian scientist, you see, daily one flower, daily he scold. Another same flower, praising. So after some time passed, then the flower which received nice word grow better. Have you heard? Have you heard? So what is the explanation? I don't know. So maybe some negative word, maybe some particles there, maybe some, rough or something. That the cell of that flower, some connection. Otherwise, we cannot explain. So we life with consciousness, that usually we call a sentient being who have experienced pleasure and suffering, pain. So then, I think our life with consciousness, with feeling. So then if you further ask why this life happened, then according theistic religion, God creates. Non-theistic religion, like Buddhism, Sankhyaism, Sankhya philosophy, these three, soul or mind, no beginning. So no creator. Life after life go like that. That's more or less nature. So there's a differences. The theistic religion, non-theistic religion, mainly Indian sort of our tradition, Sankhya philosophy, over 3,000 years. Then Jain philosophy, more than 2,700. Buddhism, 2,600. So these three non-theistic religion. So mind. Now the Buddhism and other two tradition, because life after life, there must be some connection, previous life and this life. So concept of Atma develop. Buddhism, the Atma as such separate entity, right? Something permanent, unchanging, that cannot accept. That is Kasota, not Kasota. Gyunzen Meba. So Buddha say self is designated on the combination of body, like that. So then, I think without sort of further question, and simply the meaning of life with feeling, and then purpose of our life, I consider happiness, joyfulness is the purpose of our life. I feel that way. Further question? Yes?
His High Holiness, you were discussing about emotional hygiene. So I am very curious as to how can we begin to clean ourselves emotionally at a personal level, at an individual level?
Firstly, we need more knowledge about, usually I call, map of emotion. And different level, different degrees. We will find within emotion, contradictory emotion, such as love, anger. These, you see, like sort of medicine, illness, the cell of illness, a cell of medicine, you see, some kind of sort of contradiction, contradictory. So therefore, it worked. And heat and coldness, contradiction. So heat increase because of coldness reduce, cannot go, remain together like that. So there, among emotion, there are contradictory emotion. So we have to, we should have knowledge. Firstly, the emotion, then the emotion, there are also, you see, different degree of emotion. And then the different different because of different types of so then very important to know the contradictory. Then once we realize anger is destroyer of our inner peace and finally our physical health, therefore we pay more attention the opposite emotion of anger, that's love, forgiveness, tolerance, these things. So we pay more attention about that part, then gradually anger, the strength of anger gradually reduce. So that I consider as the hygiene of emotion. So quite detailed. Since I think over 30 years, I have serious discussion with scientists, mainly cosmology, and then neurobiology, then physics, particularly quantum physics. Since Nalanda masters, sort of the definition of ultimate nature, very similar quantum physics. So perhaps I think most of you may heard Raja Ramana. Now he no longer. Once he told me, one conference in Delhi, he told me, quantum physics in the West, something new concept. In this country, over 2,000 years ago, already that concept developed. He mentioned in Nagarjuna's writing, he noticed the essence or concept of quantum physics already in there. So when I discuss with the scientist or quantum physicist, then our knowledge, according to these sort of text, so our knowledge much deeper, much advanced. And then psychology. Psychology, I publicly so now expressing the modern psychology. I have sort of quite a number of occasions in Europe and America. You see, when I discuss with the scientists, the Western psychologists, their knowledge about consciousness, about mind, very limited. They mainly mention about sensorial consciousness, not mental consciousness, like that. So I usually use it publicly also. I described, compare Western psychology, modern psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology. Modern psychology looks like a kindergarten level. Indian psychology, highly developed. And not only just the knowledge, how to train, how to transform our mind, how to bring peaceful mind. Wonderful, not through prayer, just through training our mind. All these potential not come from outside, but within our mind. All these potential there. That's a great thing. Then, next question.
See if good and bad.
Huh? Anything which create happiness, including animal or insect, that any kind of action, verbal sort of what's it, voice, sound, with sort of the motivation, anything which brings joyfulness, that's positive, that's good. Or anything which brings pain, uncomfortable, that's negative. Because logically, every sentient being wants happiness. So any action or any sort of any action which brings any type of action solve. Or any event, a big sort of storm, brings uncomfortable, no motivation. But these we consider negative. Now yesterday quite cold, now today sunny day, we feel much comfortable. So these things, you see, is related with our feeling, isn't it? Like that. So I think real demarcation, good and bad, have to relate it with our feeling. Any positive feeling, that is positive. Any negative feeling, causing for negative feeling, that is negative. Nothing to do with religious belief. According to now Buddhist, if you believe God, then the final sort of, what's it, the demarcation, good or bad, ask God. And then, where is God? One my Indian friend, very, very religious minded, very much believe God. So he asked me very seriously, since whole world created by God, God is full of love. So among his creation, there are a lot of mischievous people there. Why God creates that? Then I find it difficult to answer. Then I told him, since God created heaven and hell, so there must be someone who go to hell. Otherwise, you say, no purpose creation of hell. So fortunately, he did not ask further question. If he asks further question, then what is the purpose creation of hell? Since the entire thing is creation, his own creation, and God, the infinite love, so impossible to create some sort of cause for suffering. Impossible. So that is one contradiction, isn't it?